What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today we're going to be talking about why car repossessions are on the rise. So about a year and a half ago, I made one of my most popular videos, the auto loan apocalypse, and it blew up. And that was one of the main videos that got me on national television talking to multiple news outlets about what was currently going on in the market. Now, if you missed that video, I'll link it down in the description below. But basically, I was explaining why banks were giving out loans to people that technically didn't qualify for it. Now, back in 2019, if you came to my dealership and you wanted to buy a car, I would check your credit, I would check your payment history, and I would also check your proof of income and proof of residence. There's a lot of things that we need to know to grant you a loan. During the pandemic, a lot of banks loosened up the restrictions and decided not to do proof of income, not to do proof of residency, and even proof of employment. So a lot of these people had no jobs. They said they were making $4,000 to $5,000 because of the stimulus and some of the other money they were getting, and loans were granted to these people that technically couldn't afford it. So what happened? I was basically telling people or speculating that at the moment that repo rates were going to double because a lot of these people couldn't qualify for their loans, because once the stimulus and everything went away, if they were basically making $4,000 a month and they went back to their regular job making maybe $2,500 or $3,000 a month, they would not be able to afford their car payment. And sure enough, behold, my crystal ball was correct. A lot of people started losing their cars at the end of 22. Repos skyrocketed to up to 17,000 cars a day, which was higher than back in 2008 when we had the big financial crisis. Now, fast forward to today, the repo rate has gone all the way up to 20,000 cars a day. Now, just let that settle in. 20,000 vehicles are being repoed every single day. Now, you can go to Experian. They have a great thing. I'll leave a link in the description below. 1 out of every 3 cars is 30 days late. 1 out of every 5 cars is 60 days late, and 1 out of every 7 cars is 90 days late. That is very alarming. Now, we haven't even talked about the worst part, which is, as you guys know, the student loan forgiveness program is pretty much dead. A lot of these people are going to have to not only pay their car notes with rising interest rates, but also have to pay their student loans as well. So every little thing keeps getting more expensive. Now, one of the things that I talked about in my last video was how people were buying these cars with these $1,000 car notes. I've never seen subprime car payments go over $1,000 till the pandemic. Now it feels like everybody has a $1,000 car payment. Now, traditionally, when you think $1,000 car payment, you're thinking, man, he must drive like a really nice Escalade or maybe a brand new Mercedes or something rare and unique. We're talking Dodge Charger people. We're talking Chevy Silverados, Ford F-150s. People just couldn't put the big down payments, and so they winded up getting, either short-term or higher interest, and they were basically just getting raked over the coals. Now, I know that I think it's 1 out of every 6 cars financed also has a student loan in their name. So that's some of the stuff that I know that the people are worrying about. But I think it's going to get much, much worse, because as we talk about inflation, now remember, in 2019, most people's rent was about 30 to 40% cheaper than what it is today. Gas has doubled. Your car insurance has damn near doubled, if not tripled. Everything has gotten more expensive. So that means that there's going to be less and less people affording cars. Now, a lot of people will usually pay their rent or their mortgage and give up their car. But here's the problem with that. Yes, they get rid of the car and they can buy a cheap cash car. That's why I say that cheap cash cars are going to go up. So if you're a dealer watching this, cheap cash cars are the key. But the thing that people don't realize is when people lose their cars, they lose their ability to make money. Because if you can't go to work, if you can't maybe drop your kids off to daycare, or if maybe you're an Uber driver, Lyft, or something like that, you can't make any sort of income. So along with that, you have all the mechanics that are fixing these cars, you have all the gas that you're selling at gas stations when they're buying drinks and coffees in the morning. This ripple effect of auto loans affects everybody. And that's why I always tell everybody, the closest thing to the heartbeat of America, believe it or not, on the way the economy is going is actual auto loans. It's not construction, it's not home sales, it's auto loans, because if auto loans are booming, the economy is good. You see that catch up before home loans do. If you see auto loans going bad, they're not approving people, which we're at now where banks are really restricting people, and the repos are going up, you're starting to see that completely turn. Another thing that I wanted to address is there were so many people that were on forbearance programs. Now, during the pandemic, a lot of people were taking advantage of this, and there was literally forums and people on YouTube, you can look them up, how to buy a car and not make a payment for a year. There was people literally shouting this stuff out on YouTube, like, hey, how to burn the system. Now, sometimes it's great, but you got to remember, all those people that bought a car a year ago and didn't make any payments for a year, guess what's going to happen? You have all that interest that's been accrued. Not only that, you owe more than what the car is worth. So now if you're trying to get rid of this car, you can't. And that's going to be another reason why a lot of people are going to see more repossessions, because whoever financed at this time where they had maybe a little bit worse credit or they got a higher interest rate because they didn't have a big down payment or they didn't technically qualify for the car, there's nothing they can do to get out of it. So one of the biggest things that we're seeing now are people that are upside down in their cars. So if you paid, let's say, $30,000 for this Mercedes, and you had bad credit at the time, but you've been paying it since, let's say, 2021. You got a year and a half worth of credit. You want to say, hey, you know what? I got a 700 credit score. I believe I qualify for single digit interest. So you go to your local credit union and they're like, okay, we're going to refinance this car, but the car's value is only $20,000. You owe $26,000 or $27,000 on it. So now you either got to come up with the $7,000 difference to pay the car down so you could refinance it, or the bank won't refinance it at all. And so you're stuck with a higher interest rate. And that's what we're seeing with a lot of people. So people are realizing that if they can't refinance their cars and their cars worth $10, $15, $20, even $30,000 less than what it originally was, what prevents them from just basically giving that back to the bank and getting another car? And I believe that's what we're seeing right now. I've had several people contact me this week, literally we talked about Kia Tellurides and Hyundai Palisades. These people $30,000, $40,000 upside down. Literally going to Hyundai and Kia right now, buying a brand new one for at MSRP or below MSRP, and then just letting go of the one that they had that's way over retail. People are doing it with Corvettes. People are walking away from the allocations. All these things are spilling more and more cars out into the market. So if you're watching this and you're wondering, why are car prices going down? And we keep telling you to be patient and wait. Yes, interest rates are high. Your payments are going to be tough. A lot of dealers are not selling as many cars, so they're going to keep those prices up. But as these repos start flooding the market, and I'm telling you, 20,000 a day is a lot. And I think it's going to get even worse because we haven't felt the full effects of the actual interest rate hikes and everything else till the first month of October. I think from then to December is going to justify where our market is going. I think almost about 6 months ago, we kept talking about how the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter is going to start off on how we're going to project what the next year is going to look like. And right now, it's looking ugly. With these repossessions coming in, remember, banks are already really restrictive because people are late a lot. The car's not worth the value that what they were being sold at. But as these repos start to pour in, banks are going to take massive losses. And remember, every time a bank has a loss or some sort of issue, it is constantly tweaking the system and the numbers to go out into their favor. So what do? They offset their risk by adding certain requirements. So guess what happens now? All the people that were getting away with repos right now because they can still get rid of it, I guarantee within the next 6 months, if you have a repo, 90% of the banks don't even want to touch you. They want to have people good credit, no repos, and they don't owe a lot of money on their cars. And watch how that transition turns to more cars sitting in the market because dealers can't sell them, not because of the price, but because of the financing. And that was the point I was making back in 2021. At the end of the day, I don't care what you want to sell a car for. We can only sell a car for what it's worth and what the bank will finance it for. So unless you get a dumb customer that wants to pay $30,000 over sticker, you have to finance it through a bank. And most banks will not finance it for over MSRP or even maybe a little bit above. They want to finance it maybe 90% of LTV like it was back in the day. And I believe those days are coming upon us extremely quickly. So please be patient. Don't buy a car and just wait it out. Now, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section below. What are your thoughts about the repo apocalypse? Are you seeing a lot of your friends' cars get repoed? If you're by a local auction, if you're a dealer, let me know because I see the lots at Mannheim, Odessa, Copart, IAA. They are filling up. A lot of the repo yards that I visited in my first video, which I'm going to go back, they're all full of cars. A lot of the cars that I've been buying are all repossessions. Now, the numbers that I'm giving you, those repossession numbers are from financial institutions, banks that are giving those. Those don't include buy here, pay here dealers, payday loans, pawn shops, and other types of lending that give money for vehicles. So just imagine all the businesses, all the people with payday loans, pawn shops, all that stuff. We're probably closer to 30,000 repos a day. So, and it's only gonna get worse. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I got some really great content coming up. We got part 2 of the Turbo Smart Car. We just put the turbo on it. That thing rips. You guys are going to absolutely love the video. I'm going to be doing some more fun stuff. I'm trying to get out of the studio, and I have an insane build. The Smart Car is going to be fun, but that is just priming you guys to see what's coming next. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Follow us on Instagram at Lucky Lopez, and we'll see you next video.